So then, Barcelona is a very difficult circuit to overtake, and we've seen that so many times over the years. And I think Max Verstappen absolutely knew that as well here. So if we look at our front two, Lewis Hamilton on pole, Max Verstappen starting alongside him in second. And now let's see the reaction immediately off the lights. It's very good for Verstappen. We pause it there. He's pretty much drawing alongside Hamilton, but it's not quite enough. The Mercedes goes quite well in the second phase, and Hamilton pulls just about clear. Then Verstappen picks up a slipstream and comes again at Lewis down towards turn one. If I pause it at the braking zone, it's just about here. Look where Max is. He's just got a front wing maybe alongside the rear of Hamilton. It's barely an overlap, but he doesn't care. This is enough for him just to absolutely launch it down the inside into turn one. We've seen some tight racing between them so far. In Bahrain, Verstappen got penalised for passing Lewis off the track. Imola, Tamburello, the first corner there, they were super close, and it was Hamilton bouncing over the curves when Verstappen forced him wide. Portimao, some moments, but this one here is the tightest of the lot. If we play it through, you can just see Verstappen sends it in, and he's coming with so much speed, gets right onto the curb, takes his apex in fairness, and Hamilton can see this one coming, gives him enough space, but it's not really enough space at this stage because Verstappen's momentum is going to take him really wide past the apex of the corner. He's coming in so hot, full commitment. So through he goes, and again, just washing really wide. Hamilton takes evasive action, and Verstappen's through into the lead. We can really see how close this looked on board with Lewis Hamilton now. It's not a terrible start for Lewis, but it's just slightly better for Verstappen. Hamilton accelerates and drives up towards turn one. Doesn't choose to defend, but he probably doesn't think he needs to because he's got that advantage. And if we play it through here, look at his reactions now. He knows there's a Red Bull steaming up the inside. He doesn't take the apex, thankfully, because Verstappen is right there, but he's still turning to the right-hand side. But as you see, Verstappen moves so aggressively just with the natural momentum of his car, washing to the outside. Hamilton has to straighten up, and that must be about a paper's width between that right front and the barge board area of Max Verstappen. And it could have been super costly, this one for both. Verstappen took a big risk. And again, we watch it on board with him. You can see that even more clearly now. Finds the revs, gets a really good clutch drop, and he's moving alongside Hamilton, but it's not quite enough. Tucks in to get the slipstream, and it's just enough to get him a front wing alongside Hamilton, barely, as we're coming down towards the first corner. But in he comes, and at this point, I think it's quite clear that Verstappen knows what he wanted to do here. This is not an instinctive move. This is I'm in a title fight with you. Probably Hamilton has the faster car, certainly in terms of race trim, and I think we've seen that particularly over the 4 races now, including what happened in Barcelona. And Verstappen has gone with the mentality of, I'm taking that lead if I can possibly do it. He's in a position here where he can possibly do it, even if it's extremely risky, and he just sends it. Super deep, super late, keeps the car turned, and basically, in the end, it's a classic pass or shunt move. This is meaning really that Hamilton either allows Verstappen to go through, or he fights him a little bit harder, and it's definitely going to be a crash because this is a super aggressive move from Max. But Lewis, maybe with a bit more maturity, a bit more experience, opened the door, let him through, and again, a little bit like Portimao, thought, I'll fight you another day, and he did. Now, if we go back to this shot, something interesting here, a little nuance, is the position that they are on the grid as well. Now remember, Verstappen had just the most marginal of overlaps on Hamilton, which maybe just gave him the slight chance to have this lunge. And look at the position in regard to these yellow lines here. You can see that Verstappen's got that extra front wing, that extra little part of his car over the yellow line, whereas Hamilton's front tyres are right in line with the yellow line. Max has gained a few centimetres there on just simply grid positioning. that's the sort of thing there that just gave him a tiny few centimetres down towards turn 1 to help fire that lunge in as well. So Hamilton is absolutely fine. You can see Leclerc's done the same, Bottas has done the same as well. They've lined up their tyres with the yellow guide really on the side of the track. But you can go right to the end of the white start box. Verstappen's taken a little bit more risk there, and is maybe giving him a chance to fire that lunge in and take the lead. So that's our starting positions then effectively. After lap 1, Verstappen now leads from Hamilton. Leclerc and Bottas are just starting to drop away from the front pack. And we're kind of getting into a direct one-on-one because Leclerc hasn't got the pace in the Ferrari. He's done great to be in third, but they're not competitive enough to run with Verstappen and Hamilton both once again on the absolute top of their games. And it comes down to strategy a lot this Grand Prix. Hamilton has a lot of pace, and that's clear because he can stay right within a second or just outside of a second of Verstappen around a circuit that's normally quite hard to follow. No massive gain from DRS, a lot of corners, a lot of quite fast corners as well, so you lose downforce. But the way that Hamilton could stay close to Verstappen, it really showed that he's got pace in the car. He's also great at keeping the tyres alive when he does it. And at the end of the stint, Verstappen's struggling and he just bolts straight into the pits, realising probably that if he carries on for another lap, he's actually just going to get passed on track maybe by Hamilton. It's getting really, really sketchy. So he pits, Hamilton goes long and can only do 4 more laps before pitting himself, coming out with better tyres, and he's going to attack again. But the crucial strategy move in the end was that second stop, because it really opened up a big tyre offset between Hamilton and Verstappen. And in the end, it was a little bit more of a foregone conclusion for Hamilton to come through. Such good pace, such good tyre life. He drove flawlessly, and the strategy for Mercedes, it really kind of left Red Bull with nowhere to go. Possibly, in hindsight, they could have pitted Verstappen a second time to try and cover off Hamilton, but it would have been really, really marginal. And from the lead of the race to do a marginal stop, that if it goes slightly slower, you're going to be losing the lead of the race on the same strategy. It was a big risk. So it was a tough one for Red Bull. Mercedes called it right. They had the driver at the wheel who could really put it into place as well. And it was a great outcome for them.
Get in there, Lewis. What a great drive, man. You made that strategy work beautifully.
Lewis, it's James. Well done, mate. Impressive drive.
Thanks, James. Great job with the strategy.
Yeah, Lewis, perfect combination. Great strategy and bold, and great driving. Congratulations.
So that was a look into the fight at the front between the Mercedes and the Red Bull, but there was other action in the race as well. We saw a good scrap with Fernando Alonso and some mishaps for other midfielders, Nicholas Latifi, Antonio Giovinazzi and Pierre Gasly, all having some issues. Check it out on F1 TV.